So, Joe, in a lot of our soundbite episodes over the past month or so, maybe 2 months now, we've been talking about our pivot into really focusing on life first businesses.
And I don't think of it as a pivot, Carly. I think of it as niching down.
Thank you. No, that's yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
like it.
I mean, I don't feel like we changed direction. I feel like as we got to know more and more solopreneurs, we started to realize kind of what the people that we resonated with wanted and what we really thought we could help with, at least for service-based solopreneurs. And so, yeah, I think we're following our own advice and niching down.
I think you're 100% right. And that's how I'm going to say it moving forward. uh, but we put in a lot of time and effort. You, especially, have put so much time and effort into really niching down, both with the podcast, but also with Lifestar and how we are not only marketing things moving forward, but how we're running the business, how we're like, just everything. It's impacted every single part of our whole
Absolutely.
ecosystem. And because of that, you've created a manifesto that's basically like, this is it. Go ahead.
I, well, I've created a manifesto, but I'm not. It's not like one of those crazy people like Unabomber manifestos. It's short.
A short manifesto. Thank you for the clarification on that. Do you not want that connotation? But can you walk us through that today? What does this manifesto look like? Like, take us through the whole thing.
Well, I mean, it really comes down to this concept we've been talking about of the ownership trap, right? If you build a business, and I think you said it first, Carly, based on your skills instead of on the life that you want, then the business will pretty much take up your life because you didn't set any parameters around your life. And that's just the nature of things that are, complex, like building a business. It's hard and there's a lot to it. And if the life aspect is second or third on the list, it's going to get eaten up. So the concept here starts with life first, then business. And we've said that. I know I've said that in a number of blogs and emails and things. So, but the idea here, this ownership trap, is that you go from maybe you're working in corporate and you don't like something about it, and you say, you know what, I'm done. I want to take my life back because I'm sick of my boss or my hours, or they're making me go back to the office, or my coworkers are all gossip. Whatever it is, or many of those things. But you've made a decision that you don't want to work in corporate, and you build your own business. And the next thing, I used to joke when I first started. I started a business at one point, and I said, my boss is a real jerk. I'm self-employed. And, what happens is that you wind up building a business and it owns you instead of you owning the business. And it takes your time, and it's really, really hard. So the idea here is to, we got to identify this trap and what is it doing? So here's a few statistics for you. 65% of people that start a business do it for freedom and quality of life. They're not doing it to become multimillionaires or billionaires. They just want a life that they want to live. And that's 65%. And a lot of those are solopreneurs, right? Because it's a lot easier in theory to have a business that kind of revolves around your life if you don't have employees that you have to, support. In theory, 80% end up losing sleep over their business. So that doesn't sound like, quality of life and freedom. 80% of small business owners, this isn't just solopreneurs, but small business owners report poor mental health, 87%. And 1 in 3 of those hit full burnout. So, the issue here is we're not talking about an issue of motivation. It's a design problem. We are not designing our businesses in a way that's going to allow them to serve the life we want to live. So that's what we call the ownership trap. So there are really 3 causes to the ownership trap, but that first one, that no design, is the biggie. And it's the one that, I don't know what the statistics are. I'll make one up. 97% of people don't design their business around their life. I don't know what it is, but it happens all the time. They design it around their skills. I can do this. I'm good at this. People will pay me for this. Let me build a business. But never think about, and how do you say, Carly? What did your Tuesday look like? Is that it?
What does your Tuesday look like? Like a middle of the week, not a Friday or Monday that you could take off for a holiday or something, but middle of the week. What does your ideal day look like?
Right. And that's, if you can identify that, the things that, you be happy at the end of the day that you got to do, instead of like, oh, I can't believe I had to do that. Or guess what? 6 o'clock comes and I'm not done. Um, it's just, these are the kinds of things. So this lack of design. But then another thing that can catch up, even if you have design, and if you don't, it's even worse, is that you don't have a system, right? If you worked in corporate, you had all these pieces in place. I mean, corporations have managers, and their job is just to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's really great, if you have a good manager, it's really great because it keeps you on track. But when you're a solopreneur, you don't have a manager anymore. And a lot of solopreneurs are running their business and what we call their commitments on communication channels, emails, Slack, text messages, and whatever. And the idea is that you've got commitments that you're making to yourself, you've got commitments you're making to other people, and most importantly, commitments other people are making to you that you're not usually doing a very good job of tracking, right? You might have your own to-do list, you're doing a nice job there, keeping track of things, but where things are at in these things is tricky. But that stuff that other people are supposed to give to you, a lot of people don't track those, and then they wake up one day and find out that was something was due last week, and now they're late on something that they were supposed to do. So, this is the accountability gap, we call it. There needs to be accountability, and you can't do that, or at least most mere mortals can't do that, managing all the stuff they're doing in a business through their email inbox. It's just not feasible. So that's another issue. And then the last one is this idea that I've built a business and I'm just going to run it, but there's no plan to evolve. And the issue there is that things are changing. I mean, the world's obviously been changing like crazy. I mean, AI has made everything different. But there's other things are changing, and technology is changing. And you're changing, So I've talked to a lot of solopreneurs and said, oh, I had this great business, but, I just didn't want to be in that. I didn't want to do that anymore. It run its course, and I want to do something new or something different. And they're creating new businesses from scratch. Or it might just be, given, some things that my kids, I'm an empty nester now. I want to tweak my business, so I'm spending, some time traveling because I kind of like to travel even for business, whatever it is. But you're changing, the world's changing. And you need to have this process of every once in a while stepping back and saying, how do I evolve the business? And part of that is, keeping track of the things that are not working for you as you run the business, so you can have those to work from as you go on to the next step and evolve it. So that's really, the process that most solopreneurs aren't following, some or all of those steps. So that's one of the other things that this manifesto is talking about is that these are the problems. So what we can say then is that if you have a life-first design and you actively manage your commitments in an effective fashion, and you plan the evolution of your business as you run it, go forward with it, you then create, in our case, a life-first solopreneur business, right? You're creating a business that works for your life and not the other way around. So, I mean, does any of that not jive with you, Carly? Does it make sense?
I mean, I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask that because I've been on this journey with you.
Yeah, but you're the only person to talk to.
The only person I know, but I'd be curious, listeners, what you think about all of this. You can comment, you can send us an email. We will actually respond either at Carly, CARLY at lifestarwith2rs.com, or Joe, spelled Joe, at lifestarwith2rs.com, or send us a message on YouTube or LinkedIn, because we do want to know what you think about this. I will sit here, Joe, and be like, I think this is the smartest thing in the world. But I've also been a part of this journey. But I mean, I think the thing to drive home is, at this point in the show and in Lifestar, we've worked with thousands of solopreneurs and spoken to them. And these are the three things that they struggle with. Like we now have evidence. If you came on here after episode 10 of the show and year one of Lifestar and came up with the manifesto, I'd be like, Well, let's see if we can prove our point. But this was developed because of what we do see.
It's empirical. Good word.
Exactly. We have the evidence now. Now we're over 300 episodes into the show. We have the data, and for Lifestar, we have countless community members and everything. So, yeah, those are my 2 cents, is that this is not just a hunch.
I mean, I could go on forever, but I think that kind of covers the big picture. And this is what we exist for now. We exist, I mean, to help any life-first solopreneur. Most of our educational stuff is kind of focused on the service-based businesses, right? The coaches, the consultants, the contractors, and people who take their skill. But I mean, some of this stuff applies to anybody, whether you're a content creator or an influencer or an app developer. These philosophies apply as well. But like I said, we focus on the our educational aspect, at least focuses heavily on the service-based solopreneur business. But things like the Lifestar app will work for anybody.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, Joe, thank you for putting that together and so concretely. We've talked about this for a while, but I'm so glad we have it out. I'll link to the manifesto in the show notes of this episode so that all of you can go find it. Otherwise, you can find it on the Lifestar website. But if this episode brought you clarity and it really struck a chord with you, we would love a 5-star review because it'll help spread the word to other solopreneurs who might be in your shoes. You could also share this episode with a friend who you think might be struggling with one of these 3 things that we could really help with. And if you're like, gosh, now I want to know more, then subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. And we'd so appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on the Aspiring Solopreneur.